I hope you people can see the screen. So yesterday we went through the chapter of Valley of Kashmir. We will go to the next chapter, the chapter 7, I believe, live at Srinagar. So life at Srinagar. It is excerpt from Sister Nivedita's writing, which is a travelogue of her experience with other of their companions. They went to Amarnath Yatra via Kashmir, and they just came back. So it was a very beautiful journey. It's in English. It says "Wandering with Swami Vivekananda." You have a Bengali book too. It is called Shamiji Shohit Himalaya. So look into it. So life at Srinagar. Place Srinagar. Time June 22nd to July 15th, 1898. In the morning, we still had long. In the morning, we still had long walks, long talks. As before, sometime it would be the different religious. আশা করি আমাকে শুনতে তোমাদের কোনো অসুবিধা হচ্ছে না। In the mornings we still had long talks. As before, sometimes it would be the different religious periods through which Kashmir had passed, or the morality of Buddhism, or the history of Shiva worship, or perhaps the position of Srinagar under Kanishka. So Srinagar and Kashmir has gone through various rules, not necessarily rules, I mean kings, but different modes of worship. মানে বিভিন্ন পথে উপাসনা করেছে কাশ্মীর এর লোকেরা। কাশ্মীরে একটা যে কাশ্মীরের যে শৈব দর্শন, শৈব তন্ত্র, এর একটা খুব বড় একটা ইতিহাস আছে। প্যারালালি আবার কাশ্মীর কিন্তু আবার বুদ্ধিজমেরও খুব একটা খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট জায়গা হয়ে উঠেছিল। কিছু লোক কাশ্মীরকে বলে ওয়ার ক্রাইস্ট কেম আফটার হিজ রেজারেকশন, মানে যীশু খ্রিস্ট তার দ্বিতীয়বার ক্রুসিফিকেশনের পর বলা হয় যে তিনি আবার নতুন করে বেঁচে ওঠেন, এবং তারপরে নাকি তিনি কাশ্মীর আসেন। And few people claim that he has a samadhi over there also, and that place is also there. And few I think American documentaries are something that you would get to get. So it is, so Kashmir is a place which has a rich heritage of everything, of Buddhism, of Hinduism, of Shiva worship, of certain amount of Christianity also, Sufism. Once he was talking with one of us about Buddhism, and he suddenly said, the fact is Buddhism tried to do in the time of Ashoka what the world was never ready for till now. He referred to the federalization of religions. It was a wonderful picture, this, of the religious imperialism of Ashoka broke down time and again by successive waves of Christianity and Mohammedanism, each claiming exclusive rights over the conscience of the mankind, and finally to seem to have a possibility within measurable distance of time today. Another time, the talk was of or Genghis Khan, the conqueror of the Central Asia. You hear people talk of him as the vulgar aggressor. He cried passionately, but that is not true. They are never greedy or vulgar. These great souls, he was inspired with the thought of the unity, and he wanted to unify his world. Yes, Napoleon was cast in the same mold, and another, Alexander. Only those three, or perhaps one soul, manifested itself into three different consequences, and then he passed on to speak of that one soul whom he believed to have again and again religion charged with divine impulse to bring about the unity of man. So এখানে স্বামীজি বলছেন অশোকের সময় একটা ওয়ান্ডারফুল একটা ব্যবহার করার চেষ্টা করা হয়েছিল. It was very ahead of its time. religious unity and all this. But he said that some monotheistic religions also came up. But one point that we should note here, that Genghis Khan was not a Muslim. Uh, Genghis Khan actually came from Mongolia, and his religion was something called Tengriism. You don't know that? Uh, yes, they had their own religion. Mongolian people, যারা মঙ্গল দেশের আছে, মানে মুঘলস থেকে আমরা বলি মঙ্গোলিয়া থেকে এসেছে, বাট মঙ্গোলিয়া had its own religion. It was called something like Tingriism. It was very much similar, like the other religions which have many goddesses, gods or goddesses, or they worship the nature, something like that. So Genghis Khan was never a Mohammedan. His descendants, few of his descendants, মানে তার কিছু বংশের কিছু সাইডের কিছু লোক, তারা যখন টার্কিশ লোকেদের সংস্পর্শে আসে বা সেদিকে করে, so then they started to convert into Islam. At this time, the transfer of Prabuddha Bharata from Madras to the newly established ashram at Mayavati was much in all our thoughts. The Swami had always had a special love for this paper. As the beautiful name he had given, it indicated he had always been eager to for the establishment of organs of his own. The value of the journal in the education of the modern India was perfectly evident to him, and he felt that his master's message and the mode of thought required to be spread by these means as well as by preaching and by work. তো তিনি প্রবুদ্ধ ভারত তখন স্টার্ট করেছেন মাদ্রাজ থেকে, এবং মায়াবতীতে আছে অদ্বৈত আশ্রম. অদ্বৈত আশ্রম ইজ দি ইংলিশ পাবলিকেশন হাউস, আর বাংলা পাবলিকেশন হাউস মোস্ট প্রমিনেন্টলি ইজ উদ্বোধন, বাট তাছাড়া অন্যান্য সেন্টার থেকেও বিভিন্ন রকম বই বেরোয়, বাট মোস্ট প্রপার আর দিস টু. Day after day, therefore, he would dream about the future of his papers as about the work in its various centers. Day after day, he would talk to the forthcoming first number under the new editorship of Swami Swarupananda. And one afternoon, he brought to us, as we sat together, a paper of which he said he had tried to write a letter, but it would come this way. তো দেখতে পাচ্ছি যে স্বামীজি তখন একটা চেষ্টা করছেন প্রবুদ্ধ ভারতকে নিয়ে এই যাতে, তখন প্রবুদ্ধ ভারতের একদমই আর্লি ডেজ. If today you see প্রবুদ্ধ ভারত, then it's a very well established journal monthly, publication monthly that we all get, but it was at its infant time. তো স্বামীজি তখন থেকে এটার জন্য স্ট্রাইভিং করছেন. To the awakened India, that it has come into that particular paper, মানে সেই সংখ্যাটিতে এইটি এসেছিল. To the awakened India, once more awake, for sleep is certainly not death. So it's a whole poetry. We will not get into it today, but it's a very beautiful poetry. We can get it. June 26th, the master was longing to leave us all and go away into some place of quiet alone. But we, not knowing this, insisted on accompanying him to the colored springs called Shir Bhavani, or milk of the mother. It's a very good story. It was said to be the first time that the Christian or Mohammedan had never landed there, and we can never be thankful enough for the glimpses we had of it, since afterwards it was to become the most sacred of all names to us. An amusing incident was our Muslim boatman would not allow us to land with shoes on. So thoroughly Hinduistic is the Mohammedanism of Kashmir, with its 40 rishis and pilgrimages made fasting to their shrines. It's a very beautiful story. He says that the boatman was a Muslim, but he was such a devoted to that place যে সে তাদেরকে বলছিল যে এটা খুব পবিত্র জায়গা, আপনারা এখানে ক্ষীরভবানী মন্দির আছে, আপনারা জুতো পরে এখানে যাবেন না। So it shows that there is a religious unity which is by default in India. And in the very center of it, in the very core of it, it is all about a great deal of respect and love for each other that every community has. And it's very evident in our country if you look at it from the way I look at it, from where the Swami Vivekananda and Sister Nivedita are seeing it, you can see it all the time. In spite of all the chaos, you can see it. June 29th, another day we went off quietly by ourselves and visited the Takht-i-Suleiman, a little temple very massively built on the summit of a small mountain, 2 or 3 thousand feet high. It was peaceful and beautiful, and the famous floating gardens would be seen below us for miles around. The Takht-i-Suleiman was one of the great illustrations of the Swami's argument when he would take up the subject of the Hindu love of nature as shows in the choice of sites of temples and architectural monuments. As he had declared in London that the saints lived on the top of the hilltops in order to enjoy the scenery. So now he pointed out, citing one example after another, that our Indian people always consecrated places of peculiar beauty and importance by making their altars of worship. And there was no denying that the little Takht crowning the hill that dominated the whole valley was a case in point. তো উনি স্বামীজি বলতেন যে আমাদের মন্দিরগুলো এমন জায়গায় বানানো হয় which has a very scenic beauty. That's why the hilltops oftenly have temples. ইনফ্যাক্ট আমাদের যদি এখানেও মানে আমরা পশ্চিমবঙ্গেরও পাহাড়গুলোকে দেখি, আমরা যে কোনো পাহাড়েই যাই, সেটা বিহারীনাথ হোক, অযোধ্যা হোক, এনি পাহাড়, যে ছোটখাটো যদি কিছু পাহাড় থাকে, আমরা যদি যাই দেখি তার টপে একটা কিছু মন্দির বা একটা কিছু আছে। So that is Swamiji said also in his London lectures that because what happens is that যখন আমরা খুব বড়, খুব গ্রিনারি দেখি, খুব একটা সুন্দর সিনিক বিউটি দেখি, আমাদের মন অটোমেটিক্যালি খুব শান্ত হয়ে যায়। আমাদের our nerves come in our control, and this is very helpful for meditation. So that is why Swamiji is saying many lovely fragments of those days come into mind, as therefore Tulsi, take thou care to live with all, for who can tell where or in what crab the Lord himself may next come to thee. One God is hidden in all these, the torture of all, the torturer of all, the awakener of all, the reservoir of all beings, the one who is bereft of all qualities. There, the sun does not shine, nor the moon, nor the stars, not that the Surya, nor Jyoti. It is a verse from the Upanishads, some that Swamiji used that Swamiji loved a lot, and he's using that in many places. We will see later. There was the story of how Ravana advised to take the form of Rama in order to cheat Sita. He answered, "Have I not thought of it? But in order to take a man's form, you must meditate on him, and Rama is the Lord himself. So when I meditate on him, even the position of Brahma becomes a mere straw. How then could I think of a woman?" Beautiful thing. ঠাকুর বলতেন যে মনকে সবসময় একটা আধারের সাথে বাঁধতে, and এই গল্পটা কথামৃততেও বেশ কয়েকবার আছে। It's a very beautiful story. The companions of Ravana used to give him advice, তাকে বলতো রাবণকে যে আপনি তো you can easily cheat Sita, you can easily, আপনি তো ছলনা করতে পারেন, why don't you take the get-up of Sri Ram and become Sri Ram? You are such a Mayavi person, you are a sorcerer, you know all the magics in the world, you can do that, and you can become Ram and just go to in front of Sita. Then Ravana used to say, yeah, I can do that, but there's a condition that I need to meditate on Ram a lot to become Ram. And the problem is that Ram is himself the God, the Supreme Being. So when I meditate on the Supreme Being, eventually everything, the position of Brahma even becomes a mere straw. I mean, then all these things of duality and all these cravings become meaningless. So how do I do this? And then how it will work? Then I will be lost in the beauty of Rama, in the magic, in the eternal bliss of Rama. And so, commented the Swami, even in the commonest or most criminal life, there are these glimpses. It was ever thus. He was constantly interpreting human life as the expression of God, never insisting on the heinous or wickedness of an act or a character. So, see, Sister Nivedita here points out, see, Swami Vivekananda used to बोलते हैं, even the most in the commonest or the criminal, the most criminal life, there are these glimpses. So Swamiji's whole life is actually expression of one sentence, that all beings are potentially divine. All beings are potentially uh, God is everywhere, and all beings are potentially divine. That is there, and he strived on it, Swami Vivekananda, again and again, again and again. That's why এখানে বলছে sister Nivedita যে he never used to look at the wrong sides, the wickedness, the heinousness of the act of a character, but he also used to see, he only used to see the divinity, the spark of the divinity. It is very evident. আমরা আমাদের সমাজে আমাদের মধ্যে প্রত্যেকটা মানুষের মধ্যে কিছু না কিছু স্পার্ক দেখতে পাই it is invariably that we will see something, so a spark of divinity in everyone. Everybody, however bad or good he is, has some spark in him that will say that this man is he's a very good man, he has a very kind heart, or she has a very kind heart. So the potential is there, and to make this potential into a realization, turn into a realization, we need to do a little bit of striving. We need to look at the life of Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, or great beings like Jesus Christ and um, Siddhartha Buddha, and do a little bit of striving into it, do a little bit of tapasya, and then it will be realized. It is as simple as that. In that which is dark night to the rest of the world, there the man of the self-control is awake. That which is life to rest of the world is sleep. Rest of the world is sleep. এটা একটা গীতার শ্লোক, যে মানে এর লিটারালি তর্জমা এরকম করা যায় যে যোগীর অন্যদের জন্য যেটা রাত, যোগীর জন্য সেটা দিন, অন্যদের জন্য যেটা দিন, যোগীর জন্য সেটা রাত। বাট তার মানে এটা নয় যে যোগী ইজ অলওয়েজ অ্যাওয়েক ইন দ্য নাইট and always sleeping on the day. It is not so. It is a different way of looking at it. We will not go into that. I think today's class is till 12:10, if I'm not wrong. So we will go to the next stanza, this much of only, and look into this, and then we will call it a day. Speaking of a Thomas Campus one day, and how he himself used to wander as a sannyasin with the Gita and the imitations as whole library, one word he said came came back to him, inseparably associated with the name of the Western monk. তো একটু জাস্ট বলে রাখি, স্বামীজি যখন ওয়ান্ডারিং ছিলেন, উনি যখন পরিব্রাজকের মতো ভারতবর্ষ ঘুরতেন, তার কাছে একটা গীতা ছিল এবং একটি বই ছিল ইমিটেশনস অফ ক্রাইস্ট, রাইটেড বাই থমাস এ ক্যাম্পাস। তো সেটার একটা লাইন তিনি বলছেন, সেটা বারবার তার কাছে ফিরে আসতো। সাইলেন্স, ye teachers of the world, and silence, ye prophets, speak thou alone, O Lord, unto my soul. Beautiful, beautiful statement, that it is the God alone, it is the Lord alone who speaks within us, through the prophets, through the teachers, through everyone. It is not any individual person, but it is
Excuse me, sir. The class ক্লাসের টাইম হয়ে গেছে,
ওকে ওকে ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ।
ক্লাসের টাইম হয়ে গেছে স্যার।
ঠিক আছে।